Hi, live here, and let me talk to you. Here we go to week one's in the books. Of course, your tribal chief is on top in first place. We'll dive right into my matchup real quick because you all know how this is going to go. Them Dallas Cowboys, that defense is going to murder Zach Wilson on Sunday afternoon. I mean, I'm concerned for Zach Wilson's health and safety in this game. I feel like Dallas could put up another mega game on defense as the greatest 12th round pick seniors team. And what an atrocious dumpster fire just 1 week into the season. Rolling out Cam Akers against the Niners. Khalil Herbert, who might not even be the starting running back, against the Bucks, who stuffed anyway. Ramondre Stevenson getting tough night with Justin Jefferson getting shut down just like he did last year in week 2. Look it up, against Darius Slay and the Philadelphia Eagles. Darius Slay is going to shadow him all over the field and shut him down. And we're going to find out tonight, less than 10 fantasy points for Justin Jefferson tonight. Johnny, Waller, Jacobs. Good God, I have a super team already. We're only in week 2, guys. Side of things, Gibbs and Monty will combine for 4 touchdowns in that game. Kyron Williams and Cam Akers did 3. They are no Gibbs and Montgomery. You're looking at 4 TDs there. And I'm going to cruise to a very easy win by over 20 or more points. Now, we got Infinity and Bijan versus Allen Diggs Chubb. So Reese versus Tony Jr. in an actually fairly balanced matchup here. I just think that Alexander Madison at phone, that's really bad. He doesn't really have any holes in his starting lineup. He's a Smith Cooper, a very unrated set of 3 wideouts. Trevor Lawrence could have a big game. Unfortunately for Reese, if he does, it's likely going to Calvin Ridley. Big this week against the situation there. And to Tony Jr., but in a very tight, high-scoring game. We have Max Fab, love the team name. That's fantastic. Versus Steve Top, Senior Bottom. Okay, so Jason just throwing Senior into this right away here too. I'm looking at Steve's team. You know, he's already rolling out James Conner. Hunter Henry is a meh. You know, he's okay. You know, that just reeks of point chasing to me. Tony Pollard against the Jets, really tough matchup. The Jets are a dominant defensive front. Not expecting a big game from Tony Pollard. Prediction from Steve's side of things. Jordan Addison coming out party tonight. Darius, you heard me say, Darius Slay is going to be staple Justin Jefferson. That means Addison is going to be counted on to step up and make those plays down the field, and he is plenty good enough to do it. 100 yards and a touchdown for Jordan Addison tonight. On Jason's side of things, this is the Joe Burrow bounce back week. Joe Burrow is going to go out there against the Ravens and put up over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 of which are going to go to T. Higgins, one of which is going to be an 80-yarder to Jamar Chase. So T. Higgins, big game. Joe Burrow, big game. Joe Mixon sucks. He's washed. I watched him play last week. Absolutely washed. But you know who's not washed? Dameon Pierce. And I think Dameon Pierce goes out there and smashes against the Colts. Bold prediction. Dameon Pierce over 120 rushing yards and multiple scores this weekend en route to Jason getting the dub. Sorry, Steve. I wanted to pick you this week, but I can't do it without Eckler. Eckler being out, you really should have spent some fab on Josh Kelly. That was, and obviously your butt hurt that you didn't get Josh Kelly, which is why you're going after Trey. Look, I get it. I'd be doing the same thing. Now, we have the wise man versus Hurts so good. So Joe versus Jared in a battle to see if Jared can penetrate the iron curtain that is Joe's defense. I don't know if he can. I'm looking at this. I think Kelsey being back is huge for Joe, but bar none, Joe has the worst running back situation I have ever seen this early in a season. And all three of them have nightmare matchups. I'm talking the best matchup is Javonte Williams against Washington, who is a nightmare to running backs. But when you have Dalvin Cook, who's the backup to Breece Hall at Dallas, no less, you got backup running back at Dallas? Dude, you can't play that. Miles Sanders at home against the Saints. The Saints are a nightmare for running backs, have been for years. I wouldn't want any part of any three of these guys in my starting lineup. But you look, and Joe, once again, just like Reese, did a very poor job drafting, so he has no depth. He has nobody to plug in. He's in trouble there. My bold prediction here, though, is that Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown bounce back. I'm going to say, but A.J. Brown, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns tonight. Jalen Hurts, over 300 yards, 4 TDs tonight, 2 of which will go to Dallas Goedert, by the way, because they want to get him back involved. So big game from Hurts and A.J. Brown. On Jared's side of things, the Tua Hill stack is going to be a problem all year long. Tua really features Tyreek, and Tyreek knows what to do with it. He dominates. I'm looking at Deebo Samuel to potentially be a little more involved this week. And I got to be honest with you, I know it's the Bucs, but Mike Evans and Rachaad White are going to do very well because the Bears suck. I hate to admit it. They're my team. I love the Bears, but they suck, guys. They're just not very good. So Rachaad White, Mike Evans, big games. Bold prediction here. I'm going to say Mike Evans and Rachaad White get into the end zone 3 or 4 times. 3 times minimum. That's bold prediction. En route to Jared losing to Joe. Joe's defense is just too strong, guys. You're probably barely going to lose, but you're going to lose. And, you're going to lose with a score of like 68-71, something like that. Now, Commander and Chiefs versus One Pride Mountain. So you got Trey versus Brad in a potential GD Bowl preview. I don't know. I'm looking at Trey's team, and man, the Aaron Rodgers injury was a killer for him. That was devastating. He would have moonwalked to an easy week 1 dub had Aaron Rodgers not gone down. But him going down also really hurts Garrett Wilson to the point where at Dallas, he's not a must-play option. Not really any depth there for old Trey there, who just spent all of his fab to get guys like Josh Kelly, who is just going to sit on his bench. Like, man, you got to make a trade or something. Got to capitalize. Josh Kelly's useful while Eckler's out. You're either using him or you're trading him. If you're not using him, why spend the fab? That made no sense unless you're going to either trade him or use him. Don't see how you can get him on the field over Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, or Kenneth Walker, though. So, bold prediction on Trey's side of things. I'm going to say Derrick Henry goes full on Yeti against the Chargers. I'm looking at over 150, multiple scores, big game for Derrick Henry. On Brad's side of things, I like Brock Purdy against the Rams. Very high floor play. Brad low-key has a pretty good team. Christian McCaffrey should absolutely shred the Rams. He's got Treylon Burks. It looks like D-Hop has a high ankle sprain, by the way. And that usually means for a 31-year-old wideout, D-Hop is essentially useless for the rest of the season. But he did handcuff his wide receiver too, which is not usually something that's done. But in this case, congratulations, because you'll just plug in Treylon Burks. Oh, wait, you already had him plugged in because your team is horrible. Yikes. Okay, so let's move to the positive here. And I'm going to say bold prediction. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia defense gets over 10 fantasy points against a pretty good Minnesota offense because they're going to force Kirk Cousins into a couple mistakes. So that's what I'm going with there. Who's going to win this one? Sorry, Trey. Got to give it to Brad. Brad gets the dub this week. Big W. I by the way, I just have to mention too, Saquon Barkley is going to murder the Cardinals. I think the Giants are going to come out pissed off. I think they're going to make it a point to run up the score. Saquon, Waller, get these guys in your DFS lineups, guys, because they're going to ball out barring injury. And there you go. There's your matchup previews. I will see you in a few days for the recap after I am victorious once again.